Hi, Dr. Kent Ferguson here from Oliver Chiropractic Wellness Clinic. Now, if you are in charge of preparing your children's lunches and snacks on a regular basis, not only for your children, but maybe for your family too, then this video is for you. Why? Because it can be challenging to not only make something that is tasty, but also high in nutritional content to benefit your family. So to help us solve that problem here today is our own in-house registered dietitian, Meg Oxlin. Hi, Meg.
Good morning. Hi there.
So, Meg, the school year runs many months, and there's lots of lunches and snacks to prepare in between. Now, when it comes to some concepts for our viewers to consider when they are making lunches and snacks on a regular basis, what are some things to think about?
The two top things that always come to mind are, one, involving the kiddos, making it a family affair, and secondly, making it fun. And just bring them on board and make it fun, make it creative. And today we're going to talk about baking. So baking is a great way to get creative and have fun. So yeah.
Good, make it less of a chore, right? You want them to do it.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, so today you're going to be sharing one of your cookie recipes, correct?
Yeah.
All right, take it away.
Okay, so I love to bake, and I believe the most universal favorite cookie is probably a chocolate chip cookie recipe, a basic recipe. So I've chosen just a basic chocolate chip cookie recipe to modify or to enhance, to make it a more healthy snack for your kids' lunch. And baking can be either like dessert, or it can be like breakfast or a healthy, wholesome snack. So your typical chocolate chip cookie recipe is super delicious, super decadent, and the three core ingredients are white flour, white and brown sugar, and butter, and lots of all those things. And that's all fine in moderation, but there's so many ways you could alter that recipe to make it healthier and still very tasty. So that's what I'm going to run through today, is how I took a basic recipe and enhanced it with some wholesome ingredients.
Fantastic, okay.
Yeah, so we're going to start with the flour. So everybody knows about your basic white flour, which has very little nutrition actually. So in starting with the grain, what a good guideline is so a basic chocolate chip cookie recipe is 2 cups of white flour. Yeah. So I'll use 1 cup of white flour and then use 1 cup of a whole grain flour or whole grain of some type. So for example, oatmeal or whole wheat flour, or I happen to have whole grain spelt flour. There's so many alternatives these days. So it's 1 cup of the white and then adding 1 cup of the whole grain, which adds fiber and so many vitamins, minerals, and more protein.
Adds fiber and other nutritional content.
Yeah.
With the whole grains, yeah, okay.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Regarding the sugar, you can cut the sugar by 1/3 to 1/2, depending on preference. So I typically cut it by a half. A typical recipe is 1.5 cups of sugar, and that's lots. And then the chocolate is also sweet. So I'll use 3/4 cup, combination white, brown, whatever the preference is.
Okay.
For butter also can be cut 1/3 to 1/2. You can also use some coconut oil instead of the butter. Sometimes I'll add an extra egg to make up some of that moisture. You can substitute sour cream, yogurt, buttermilk for some of the butter. So there's many different ways to still add the moisture and the consistency, but to cut down on the fat.
Well, that's fine, because I mean, if I can choose, I would prefer my cookies to be chewy.
Yeah.
Right, chewy and yep.
For sure, yeah. Salt is typically in the recipes, but there's salt in the butter, a lot of salt in the butter. So salt can be cut by half easily. You can eliminate it really, but not necessary. But cutting it in half, as we know, salt a little bit is good, but salt in excess, it's found in so many foods, and it's just not good for us. And lastly, with the chocolate, so typical recipe will have 1 to 2 cups of chocolate chips. So first of all, the dark chocolate is more bittersweet, has less sugar, is less processed, and actually has some good nutritional value in it. Yeah. So I always recommend the dark. And 1 cup max. You can also when you cut back on the chocolate, you can add some dried fruit. So like raisins or craisins, dates, to add the sweetness back. I did some baking yesterday. So these are chocolate chip cookie recipes with oatmeal added and craisins, dried cranberries, and then I also grated some orange rind in it. I like the cranberry orange combination. It just adds a different twist, and some bioflavonoids while you're at it. And yeah, so those are just some tips and tricks. Any thoughts, questions?
Yeah, like, I mean, when you're substituting the chocolate chips the way that you are, one thing that I think about, which I also kind of enjoy, is that there's different textures now in that cookie.
Totally, totally. And you can even add to that, you can also add some nuts. So talking about texture, which is crunch, texture, fiber, healthy fats. There's really no limit to how you can enrich a cookie and make it more interesting. It's fun, it's creative, and let alone healthier for you. So cookies can actually be, be contributing to your child's nutritional well-being. And you can't eat as many cookies either. It helps with portion control because the more healthy and nutritious and high fiber they are, the more filling and satisfying they are, and you can't eat as many cookies.
You know, when you go back to your original concept of getting the children involved to have fun, if you are expanding the ingredient list from flour, butter, and sugar to maybe adding oats, different types of flours, different types of nuts, you mean instead of 3 ingredients, you can have really 6 or 7, and then everybody can have a little part of preparing, adding, mixing, right? Yeah, I like that.
Yes, and the kids can even be involved in, you can sit down with the recipe, age appropriate, of course, and say, well, what would you like to add? Like, what is your favorite dried fruit? What is your favorite nut? Do you want oatmeal or do we want to go flours? What texture do you like? So yeah, from the very beginning through to the baking, they can be involved. Yeah.
Fantastic. So your chocolate chip cookie recipe with its substitutions adds more whole grains, better sugars, if you will, better digestible sugars, and as well, probably more filling. So instead of sitting down and eating a dozen, those couple will do, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right, that's fantastic. Now, Meg has shared some filler ideas of where you can substitute some of the typical cookie ingredients. Look for a link associated with this video, and we'll have the cookie recipe by Meg posted in a blog for you to copy down and to help make your own, right? Because as we can see here today, you can really mix and match, use your own preferences on tastes and textures, and to keep them interesting, all right? A cookie is a cookie, but you can really keep them interesting.
Absolutely, and it can still taste great, but contribute to your nutritional intake.
Yeah. All right, well, Meg, thank you for sharing that cookie recipe. Now, Meg, you've been, for the viewers so they understand, you've been with our clinic now for a couple of years. You've been in the field of nutrition for 25 years. You have a lot to offer. Can you help people understand some of the services that you have available if they're looking for some extra guidance from a nutritional standpoint?
Absolutely, yes. I offer nutrition coaching and nutrition consultations at the Oliver Clinic.
Yeah.
And that consists of a nutritional assessment, nutrition plan provided, and I'm very foodie oriented, very practically oriented. So I'd love to cook, bake, help people create menu plans, help modify recipes that may be of interest to you, and so services are available all via Zoom right now, but you can contact the clinic directly if you wish to set up an appointment or just inquire about our nutrition services at 780-455-2112, or go to our website at ocwc.ca, and the whole list of the nutrition services and different packages that are available to you.
Fantastic. So if you're listening, you're looking for a unique approach, something that's individualized for yourself, you and your spouse, or maybe your entire family, give our clinic a call. Check out what we have to offer on our website under nutrition. Meg provides some fantastic service. So I hope everyone watching this video found it helpful and useful. If you'd like to share the video with someone in your family, please do. If you got your own suggestions about great substitutions for chocolate chip cookie recipes, please comment in the comment section below. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time though, thank you for joining me and Mang in our kitchens. We hope you learned a lot. Bye for now.
Happy baking. Bye-bye.